Good morning. Welcome to the program agenda, your program, your agenda here on Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250 via One News. And today we are going to have a very interesting conversation regarding AI. About a week or so ago, a well-known news group, GMA7, posted that they had AI sportscasters, artificial intelligence generated sportscaster. And as expected, it created quite a stir. A lot of people reacted, and the conversation has not stopped. But for myself, I just kind of stepped back and watch until people calm down. And I came across an article written by someone who is a veteran journalist, literary person. So we are going to speak to him because he wrote an article that was very interesting. He wrote about both sides of the conversation, but he included something that many of us did not even think about. What does AI have to say about AI? And so I couldn't resist it. I had to invite the gentleman. And of course, as always, Team Agenda manages to get their man. So today, please join us as we find out what does artificial intelligence have to say about artificial intelligence here on Agenda. But before that, let's go to our standard intro. Today is October 3, 2023. It's a Tuesday. As far as the weather goes, it started drizzling, raining here in Capitolio, Pasig. I suppose rain will be in the menu for the day because of that typhoon or the tropical depression up north. So please be aware of that and do take care of yourselves. There are a lot of people who are down with what many say is the flu, coughs, colds, and I hope that's all there is. But there are cases of COVID. In fact, in one of the hospitals I visited, I was told, Cito, stay out of the ER. I said, why? Because there are a couple of cases of COVID we detected. So that's it. And then, of course, you have dengue and etc. So please be careful. Now, for our, before I forget, thank you for being Cignal TV subscribers. Thank you for watching Agenda. And of course, maraming salamat to those who watch us via Facebook and YouTube. And thank you for PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet. And yan po ang nagdadala sa programa natin. Now, let's go to our daily starter. I picked it up from the Bible, and it is from the 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 7. But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. I have to be very honest, very transparent. This last week has been very hard on me. Not only have I been sick because of cough and cold, but someone near and dear to me, our caretaker, Narding, had complications. I wrote about it in my column in the Philippine Star. And so it's been a struggle, and I guess everything came to a peak yesterday. But God is faithful. As I was going through my Facebook page and going through the posts of many people, there was a river of encouragement. And when you get that, you have to think God is telling you, I've got this. Your reward is coming your way. Be strong, stay the course. And as he said to Joshua, be courageous. So I hope that's a good daily starter for you. Let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star for a quick review. October 3, 2023. The headline is still about confidential intelligence funds. Senate urged uphold House CIF realignment. Okay, Congress has urged the senators and academics are calling on the Senate to uphold the House of Representatives realignment of confidential funds to government agencies involved in national security. Sa madaling salita, parang awa nyo na, ibigay nyo lang sa karapat-dapat na mga ahensya, hindi sa mga politiko. Meanwhile, at the top of the front page, the header, BBM Sara double-digit drop in approval and trust ratings. Ayan na po, nangyayari na. And we don't want this, okay? Let's be clear, but it is happening as expected. The approval and trust ratings of both the president and vice president have had double-digit drops. Ibig sabihin niya na 10 plus because of the things that Filipinos have been going through. Kamahal ng crudo, kamahal ng gasolina, bigas, etc. So it is time to pay attention to the work and not to the politics. COMELEC starts tackling vote, buying, and sell complaints. Wish ko lang. Okay. Aside from premature campaigning, the COMELEC is now looking into 40 complaints of vote buying and vote selling. Tragic po, mga kapatid, because we're only talking about barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections. If they're already doing vote buying, vote selling at that level, please pray for the Philippines. God help us, because talagang that is an indicator of how bad and corrupted our politics is. Meanwhile, 2 pesos rollback in gas, 40 centavo hike in diesel. In separate advisory yesterday, oil firms said prices would be reduced by 2 pesos per liter for gasoline and 50 centavos per liter per kerosene, and 40 centavos hike in diesel. So kung ano yung mas kailangan, yun ang tumaas. Law of supply and demand. Pinay weightlifter bags bronze at Asian Games. So ayan, okay. And then the big photo there on the front page of the Philippine Star, the Golden Boy. Golden Boy siya ngayon because he brought home the first gold medal. Pole vaulter E.J. Obiena arrives at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Hindi po selfie stick yung dala niyang yan. Yan po yung kanyang pole vault equipment. Okay. So, congratulations, E.J. Obiena. You are finally getting the recognition you deserve. Meanwhile, Nobel Prize for Medicine goes to COVID vaccine researchers. Congratulations for your work. Penn medicine scientists Drew Weissman and Caitlin Carico, who won the 2023 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for discoveries enabling the development of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. Ayan po sila. Congratulations. Marcos launches 5-year plan to address seniors' needs. The Philippine government yesterday launched a 5-year development plan to address the needs and challenges faced by Filipino elderly. Okay, so we will tackle that in a future program. We will address that along with Philippine public health realities. German Unity Day special. Ayan, meron daw special. Okay, ang Philippine Star, if I'm not mistaken. Meanwhile, Philippine allies begin sama-sama naval exercises in West Philippine Sea. Okay, that photo there, U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Carl Thomas, Commander of the 7th Fleet, Philippine Navy Vice Admiral Toribio Adasi, and Commodore Joe Anthony Orb, Commander of the Naval Forces Southern Luzon, pose for a photo with members of the participating nation. Doon po kayo sa Panatag Shoal, mag-picnic at paalisin ninyo yung mga walang yang mga naka-rubber boats na Chinese. Okay, we will now go for a quick break, and when we return, we will find out what does AI or artificial intelligence have to say about AI sportscasters and the like. We'll tackle that here on Agenda.
There's an ongoing discourse right now about the place of artificial intelligence, or AI, in the newsroom. But did you know that AI-assisted journalism has been in large newsrooms around the world for years now? For example, Newswire AP is using AI technology to automatically generate 40,000 stories a year. According to AP's former Director of News Partnerships and AI News lead Lisa Gibbs, AI technology freed their journalists from routine tasks. Now they have more time to do higher-level work that improves their news reporting skills. A study from media think tank Polis at the London School of Economics insists that robots are not taking over journalism. Their report found out that newsrooms are mostly using AI for news gathering, production, and distribution. How should the local journalism industry embrace the use of AI in newsrooms? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Joel Pablo Salud is an essayist, novelist, and columnist. He has authored 13 books of political essays, 2 of which were shortlisted at the National Book Awards. Salud was the editor-in-chief of the literary magazine Philippines Graphic for 11 years. Now, he is also a contributor at Philstar Life.
Okay, welcome to the program, Joel, and thank you very much for agreeing to join us this morning. And I am really curious to where our conversation is going to land us.
Yes, good morning, Cito. This is really an interesting topic, if I may say. Mhm.
Okay,
Sobrang
now,
interesting yan.
yeah, I'm curious how you ended up writing about AI because not that I'm saying you're not a journalist, okay, but you're a you would be one of those Jedi masters in terms of Philippine literature, di ba? Yung graphics, etc. You're an author, yeah, etc. But unlike the regular journalists, most of the journalists just made comments about AI, about the GMA, AI sportscaster, but you really did a piece on it. The piece was quite thorough. It was fast. It was to the point, but it was thorough. That settles the matter.
Well, the interesting thing about AI, one thing that really grabs my attention is how most people react to it or respond to the technology. No, it's really a novel thing.
Mhm.
Ang sarap niyang isipin na may makakapag-isip na mas mabilis kaysa sa atin. No, parang gano'n. I mean,
Mhm.
barring God aside, kumbaga. But ang maganda dito is that I'm not against technology, no. Let me get that out of the way. I'm not against advancement in technology, especially AI, kasi maraming pwedeng paggamitan yan. Like, for example, data analytics, let's say, yung scorecard ng ng a certain basketball player, AI can compute that and all that. But then, syempre, ang analysis nun should come from a human being who knows the game. Diba?
Mhm.
Because AI has never attended a single basketball game in its life. No, I'm sorry to say. So ang AP kagaya niyan in one of your intros, 'di ba sinabi niya AP is already actually AP is Associated Press is in partnership with OpenAI, no? May
Mhm.
access sila to the technology and to the product expertise. Pinagagawa nila siya ng transcriptions, and we know as journalists ito na it's hard to make interview transcriptions, no? When you have to take it word per word, it has to be exact, and AI can do pretty much a better job than we could, no? As
Mhm.
journalists. Ang hirap. But ang was that ang funny diyan is that when I stumbled upon what one journalist did, ang ginawa niya, ang tinanong niya AI. Sabi
Mhm.
niya gano'n, sa ChatGPT parang, "What do you think about, say for example, you taking over the newsroom?" And it started to say a lot of things against itself, parang gano'n ang lumalabas
Mhm.
na it's not advisable, sabi ni AI, to have me take over the newsroom, do some generative reports, no? Kasi it's a generative, it learns language by what we feed it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not sentient. No, hindi siya sentient being kagaya natin na self-aware. Although others fear na baka in just a few years, yun ang mangyari.
Mhm.
But it's a generative language tool na natututo siya kung ano yung feed natin. Say for example, yung partnership ng AI with the Associated Press would give AI access to the millions, I guess, na reports, no, na ginawa nila through the decades.
Mhm.
And dun siya matututo, dun siya apparently matututo how to craft a report. Well, sinasabi ng people who defended GMA na okay lang naman kasi they're talking heads. Fine, it's okay, no. Kaya lang, where do we draw the line? AI apparently knows where to draw the line kasi sabi niya hangga't maaari wag siyang gamitin, no, in
Mhm.
the newsroom, because what the newsroom requires or demands of its people, especially journalists and editors, is responsibility and accountability to what it puts out there. And AI, for what it's worth in technological advancement, has no sense of accountability the way humans have a sense of accountability, or at
Yeah,
least
or journalists for that
or
matter.
journalists for them, kasi we were trained for that.
Mhm. Because before I even write on a subject matter,
Mhm.
I have to seriously think of impact, consequence, who are
Exactly.
going to be affected by the article. Hindi mo pa sinusulat yun.
Mhm. That's
Iniisip
true.
mo na muna yung may masasaktan ba, makakatulong ba, etc.
Mm. Oo. And AI is generally, we can call it heartless, no? Dahil because it's a machine. It
Mhm.
doesn't weigh subjects or things the way we do, or the way especially journalists are trained to do. No,
Mhm.
we can train it in the matter of language, but we cannot train it as a matter of morals. Medyo may problema tayo doon unless it becomes sentient, which I hope it doesn't.
Mhm.
Parang ganon. Kasi kagaya na nakakatuwa, no? Like andun tayo sa usapang AI discourages using AI in the newsroom. Nakakatuwa kasi one New York Times reporter started asking AI, tinest niya yung no, tinest niya yung AI
Uh-huh.
and started asking it, parang inaano niya, parang tinotaunt niya yung AI. Kinukulit-kulit niya ng konti to expose its dark side.
Okay.
And then, apparently, what happened was that AI started using language sa kanya na parang siyang stalker, no? Trying to actually seduce the reporter. No, may sexual undertones yung may intimacy undertones yung sinasabi ni AI.
Mhm.
Ni-report ngayon ni New York Times yun, tinawagan niya yung AI company, parang ano to, bakit ito ganito? Sabi nga, bakit parang biglang nagbago yung language niya, hindi na siya professional. Sabi niya kasi nga maraming information na hindi niya pa kayang i-sift through, no?
Mhm.
I-sift over and against one and the other, no? So hindi niya matel between what is, say for example, probably a formal way of saying things to a dark side kind of AI, no, na meron siyang dark side. Ang
Mhm.
nakakatuwa nito, someone from Telegraph picked up on the story and tinanong niya ulit si AI, uy, yung sinabi mo ba dito sa reporter na to, is you really mean it? AI started defending itself. Sabi niya, no, I was just trying to parang niloloko niya si yung New York Times reporter, ganyan. And it's beginning to sound really weird. Actually, ang
Mhm.
word na ginamit nila ng New York Times reporter was creepy. Kasi parang stalker yung and even AI even tried to convince him to separate from his wife and go with AI. Di ba ang gulo lang? Di ba ang crazy nung kwento? And it's weird kasi this involves mainstream news
I mean, hello,
outfits.
New York
New
Times,
York
The
Times to,
Telegraph.
tas The Telegraph to. Talaga na,
Hindi yan mga small time na mga periodiko o dyaryo.
oo. And nakakatuwa kasi the journalists that are involved are also very serious journalists who wanted to test the limits of AI and
But
how it thinks.
I don't know. The next question I would have asked is paki-check nyo nga yung marital status nitong dalawang bugoy na ito kung malapit ng ma-divorce. Bakit? No, because you have to wonder, right?
Yes,
Why
yeah, told
would
to.
AI tell a journalist, you should leave your wife and go with me, and
Oh,
then you start wondering, why does this animal know about my marital status? Baka naman
you may
as
have
you said,
post. Mm-mm.
di ba you said stalker?
Oo, parang stalker yung dating niya. Tapos
Mm.
baka tama ka din dun, Sito, no? I mean, just to think about it right now, na baka naman na-post mo sa Twitter or sa Facebook mo yung, just a hint of your marital status, and AI picked up on that. So that could also be, but what I'm trying to say is that AI is not yet what we want it to be. I guess what we want it to be is to be better than us.
Or
I don't know.
we presume that
Oo.
AI is not what we want it to be, or is not where it is. Kasi parang yun presumption natin, yun ang
Oo.
akala natin. But
Oo.
I have come across articles where I think somewhere in the African continent,
Mm.
they had applied a technology, artificial intelligence technology, and after a year, they got the shock of their lives when the app or the system started using local indigenous language or words. And they were like, where the hell did this thing get these words? So, and then when they studied it, it was an evolution of the information of the
Mm.
system itself.
Oh, imagine that, 'di
It
ba?
wasn't
Parang
inputted, hindi to
oo,
kinarga na
oo.
intentionally kailangan matuto ka ng ganito. Nag-evolve. Parang like on my phone, I'm surprised that when I enter, or my column, when I enter certain Tagalog terms in my column, it actually tells me, do you mean this particular word or this particular? Sabi ko, teka, kailan ka natutong magtagalog?
'Di ba? Oo,
Hmm.
ganyan 'yan. Ang nakakaano ron, ang disturbing diyan is actually yung sa the tech itself is really, admittedly a very novel thing, no? Napaka-interesting niya. But
Hmm.
what disturbs me most of the time is how we respond to it as humans. parang we like so much to think that it can surpass our own abilities to do things, especially in the newsroom. Oo, may mga mahirap na bagay gawin sa newsroom like transcription, data analytics, data journalism is a very difficult, especially business, no? When you deal with business, when you deal with, say, for example, historical data as per foreign direct investments, di ba, sa atin for the next last 5 to 10 years. Diba, ang hirap nun pag binigay mo yun sa tao kasi so far as speed is concerned, napakahina natin. And at the same time, there are deadlines to meet. And we all know that as journalists, di ba? Yan ang pinaka-Waterloo natin. So, yan yung ano ko na minsan tinitingnan natin yan and it's good no na meron tayong taga tumutulong sa atin na AI on this account. But where do we draw the line? Yun yung sa akin. Like for example, GMA would have, I would have appreciated more if GMA set the policy standards on its use of AI and sana pinakita niya rin sa tao yun. Sa watchers niya, no?
Well, in fairness to GMA, they said hindi naman namin papalitan yung mga broadcasters, journalists. It is simply a novel enhancement. But natawa ko dun sa comment mo eh. Let's begin with the product itself, no? Because you referred in your article, these AI news presenters' entertainment value is restricted only to good looks. Maya appears like a sad rip-off of the lovely human Bernadette Sembrano with Marco tailing behind like some guapo South Korean soap opera superstar just right off his last shooting day. I mean, nagpapatawa ka pero there is a bit of truth to it. The way this AI personas were created is apparently tailor fit to a Filipino audience. Now, ito ba locally assembled ba yung si Maya at si Marco? Or is that a product of some foreign company like China, etc.?
I think my question, the better question I guess that we should ask is that, what did you feed AI so that it can come up with those faces? Because those faces, basically, if you really look at it, they're not, I mean, if we're going to make ourselves creators of people, in our image, to use biblical terms. Parang ano yung pinanggamitan mo rito? 'Di ba? Ano yan, pinlegerize mo lang yung mukha. So sa akin ganun yung dating sa ulo ko kasi parang these are just copies of and if we are if we are already into personalities, no, yung Filipinos are really neck deep into following personalities and how they look and ganyan. And of course, social media also bolsters that kind of practice, no? In TikTok, 'di ba? Ang dami diyan, puro sila magaganda, puro gwapo, ganito, ganyan. What is stopping us from using AI to create mas gwapo, mas maganda just to grab the attention of our audience? 'Di ba? Ang maganda lang, meron tayong policy that is put there. Like, okay, AI will be used na ganito, ganyan. Kasi, ang takot ko lang is that accountability might be shrugged aside just for the novelty of the technology. May accountability ang journalism eh. That's the one thing we should never forget. No, I mean, kunin niyo na lahat ng gwapo, kunin niyo na lahat ng maganda, gawin niyo na lahat ng AI na newscasters, pwedeng sa Bagyo, 'di ba? Sila na rin para naman safe, 'di ba? Kasi you can always make an excuse eh. Para safe yung tao, hindi na kailangan pumunta ng reporter doon, 'di ba? Di-feed na lang ng reporter yung nakita niya ganito or something.
But it's being done already, isn't it? 'Di ba? Because dito na-shock lang tayo dahil sportscaster. I think the 2 points where people reacted was, wow, ang ganda at ang gwapo, artificial intelligence sila, but also sportscaster. Parang two impossible points because you don't expect an AI generated sportscaster Why sports? Kasi yun yata yung pinakamahirap. There's so much emotion, so much insight, so much data na parang paano mo pagagalawin yan? Gumalaw nga lang tayo sa camera, hindi pa makahabol yung internet natin, yung AI pa.
No. Oh, yeah, exactly your point, Cito, na I'm trying to raise also, which I probably failed to raise in the article, is that yung sportscaster, when you listen to a really good sportscaster, a human sportscaster, nadadala ka rin sa game. Ang sarap, di ba? If it's basketball, if it's soccer, ganyan. Pag nakikinig ka, ang ganda nung kasi the sportscaster himself, while talking head lang siya, and probably never played the sport in his life, knows the game. Now, when you say knows the game, meaning there is at best or at some point an experiential knowing of the game. Hindi lang siya yung finid yung information and then idinakdak sa TV. Because whether we like it or not, pag finid mo lang yan, sinalita mo sa TV, that's going to be flat, boring, and almost half dead. Half the time.
Okay, let's go for a quick break. And when we come back, let's discuss further. You were mentioning about accountability.
Yes.
Accountable ba yung AI person na pag nagmura siya o may sinabi siya, ang tanga-tanga mo mag-dribble or mapakabanban mo mag-dunk, etc.
Lagot na.
We'll be right back here on Agenda.
A recent study conducted by the University of the Philippines reveals that Filipino fact-checkers are cautious about utilizing artificial intelligence to combat disinformation. The results of a recent study, which also published in Vera Files, indicate that Filipino fact-checkers are generally reluctant to embrace AI. This reluctance stems from concerns about the limited effectiveness of the available AI tools, the possibility of eroding audience trust, and potential security threats. Interestingly, despite being a hotspot for disinformation, Filipino newsrooms rely on third-party AI tools in contrast to Western counterparts developing their AI systems. But the question still stands: can artificial intelligence help debunk fake news? Let's discuss that further on today's agenda.
Okay, with us is columnist, author, essayist Joel Pablo Salud. Joel, let's get on with a discussion.
Yes.
And so, would AI be a great tool to debunk fake news, or has it been proven to be an instrument for fake news?
I think we should rephrase the question. No, the question is, can AI tell between what is true or what is factual and what is false, given that AI is fed information or that it has access to information where it couldn't tell which is which. Yun yung problem ko. It doesn't have the skill or the programming to say na which is real or which is factual or which is not. So kung ang finid mo dyan, or if it has access, let's say for example, there's an ongoing case right now filed by well-known novelists and authors in the US. No, sinasabi nila kasi na apparently AI got access to what they wrote, and eventually what they wrote was used to train AI in a way to learn, no, to think and to know the language. So dinimanda
I
nila
think
because
you're referring to the legal cases filed against ChatGPT.
yes, by George R. R. Martin yata yan and the other authors, no?
Yeah.
And yes, and inano nila yan kasi apparently they were not told na gagamitin yung materials nila and what they wrote. So basically what happened was a type or form of plagiarism. No,
Mhm.
like there was this a friend of mine on Facebook. Sinabi niya kay ChatGPT, can you write something that mimics Joel Pablo Salud? And then he posted it on Twitter. It was scary. Why? Because it mimicked my line constructions,
Mhm.
but it didn't sound anywhere near like me. But it mimicked my line constructions. Very close na na it's almost like me, but yun lang choices ng words niya are words probably I will not choose. Parang ganon. So
Mhm.
ang weird nung how chat or how AI learns the language, no? And so eto nga, can it tell between what is fake and what is not? If you cannot even tell how to use the language in a way na mapapabilib kami or mapapabilib tayo lahat, 'di ba? Then how can you even tell between what is right and what is wrong, or what
So
is factual and what is not?
so the words from the IBM era, garbage in, garbage
Reach
out,
out.
is still the case.
Parang gano'n ang lumalabas, 'di ba? Or ang masakit nito, baka garbage in, tapos wala na kasi tinitake niya pati yung garbage, eh. That's why it makes errors.
Aha.
And the errors are still very consistent pa rin yung errors niya. Like for example, there was one I read about several months back about an essay ChatGPT made na ang nangyari was that ang ganda ng sulat but it doesn't make any sense. It is not logical, meaning. What
Mhm.
it's trying to explain was like parang dinukot niya lang yung information, made a very thin logical experiment on how it should go, yung flow. But then when you read it as someone who is a reader, no, tayo, Cito,
Mm.
and titingnan mo siya, it doesn't make any sense. It jumps from one topic to the other, which is even worse than what grade 2 or grade 3 would write in an essay in school. Parang
Okay.
ganun. Hirap pa siya. Hirap pa siya sa ganun.
Okay. Now, in your article, you pointed out that there were certain issues, future proofing. People say, "Oh, this is going to help us. It's going to future proof us," meaning hindi kami malalaos, hindi kami maiiwan because we have artificial intelligence, or it's necessary because it increases the efficiency of an organization and it frees our journalists. Yun yung argument nung sa US na hindi na kami kailangan na nasa office, yung AI na ang gagawa niyan, etc.
But
Parang spell check. Everyone is on spell check and pati tuloy ako biglang, teka, ba't mas marunong ka pa ba sa akin?
Exactly. Yung na pinipredetermine niya kung ano yung gusto mong word. Di ba parang ganon? And that's pretty much no, what one columnist I read sa, I think that was the Philippine Star also, na sinulat niya na if it's going to free, kunyari, mas mura yung gawin na lang AI yung speakers or newscasters kasi the money that would go there for the salary should go na for the thing which matters most, which is the reportage, the calling of evidence and all that. And we all know that takes a lot of money. No, ang problem lang is that sa akin, well, these are assumptions. If that is, kung yun talaga ang gagawin, di ba? But what if hindi? What if we don't know where the line will be drawn, Cito eh. Yun doon ako na kasi okay, na-normalize natin yung tanggap na natin, na-normalize na ang newscaster natin and even our news anchors are already AI. Sabihin na natin, na-normalize natin yan. Where do they stop? Where should they stop? That's a little hard also to determine once nakita natin yung potential ng AI.
And also, how do you regulate or how do you make it safe? Because right now, the reporter reports to the chief of reporters, the chief of reporters or beats, they report to an editor, a section editor, or to the newsroom. And then there is even the anchor, like myself, I play a position of screening or filtering para to make sure walang mademanda, wala tayong kaaway, and we are aligned with what we are trying to report and that it is true.
Yung kanina I was watching before I went dito, I was watching a report. Basically AI siya. It was AI made. Pero ine-explain nila na ang dami pa ring work talaga. Like, even yung talking head nila, they have to edit what was fed to the AI and to the talking head, the image. Do you still need an editor to edit it? Kasi hindi niya parang hindi sumusunod yung AI dun sa dun sa naka-feed sa kanya na supposedly sasabihin na lang niya. Hindi sumusunod. There are lapses, there were suddenly hindi nagsasalita, suddenly. So there is baka marami pang problema sa programming, may glitches pa and all that. Ang sa akin is that kagaya ng sabi mo kanina, paano pag biglang nagmura yan? Paano pag biglang it goes rogue? 'Di ba? Somewhere in the middle it goes rogue, biglang nagsalita ng kung ano yan, 'di ba? Sabihin nating merong corruption case na and then nagsasalita yung AI, yung newscaster, biglang sinabi niya, sige, magrevolusyon na tayo kasi nga ganito tong mga taon to. What are we gonna do with that? Who's going to answer for that when a machine is the one that went rogue? You cannot blame the editor for it because he tried his best to do it. You cannot blame the publisher for it because he tried his best to do something about it. So who now answers for that? A machine.
And how do
Parang
you
ang labo.
how do you classify it? Kasi for journalists, it's a human court of law, it's human laws, it's libel, etc. But an AI is a cyber personality. Libel by an AI is cybercrime. So parang you're going to have two courts come together just to hear one particular case.
Hindi lang yun. Dapat ba meron tayong virtual jail?
Okay. We're going out of bounds. But okay, let's refocus. So we have AI.
Yeah.
The idea of AI is being introduced to Philippine broadcasting. It is an attempt, globally, an attempt or being sold for efficiency, cost cutting, for better performance, etc. But what about yung sinabi natin kaninang future? Whose future will be at stake? Because right now, as it is, I was talking to our guest, pasensya ka na, medyo napoforget me ako. We were talking about, discouraging people from taking up journalism and broadcasting, and we're telling them, nako po, million kayo na gusto na wannabe, pagkatapos ilan lang ang posisyon, and then may competition pa kayo from AI, etc. And ang liit ng mga sweldo, humanap na lang kayo ng ibang course. What's your
Exactly.
view of all of this and how AI will impact the future generation of broadcasters and journalists?
I think that will now have to depend on the owners of news outfits, no, where they are going to bring this. I mean, I still believe, no, and I would like to believe that human beings or human journalists should be given priority, kumbaga priority positions in the newsroom, kasi sila yung talagang nakakaalam and trained to do this, no. Basically, language generative tools lang ang basically ang AI. So so far as yung generation of language lang or language learning, they're not going to be sentient just because they know language, no? Hindi 'yon. Ang akin lang, sana we put humans there, no? And ang akin, ang nadidisturb lang ako, as I was saying kanina nga, is that where do we draw the line? Hindi natin alam saan yung safe, saan din yung hindi. And I think yung errors ng AI is also, a big anong tawag dito, a big sign na pati yung errors natin as human beings parang naikabit natin sa AI since we are its creators. So parang naiwan din sa kanila yon. So they are also struggling with how to correct all these things. Sa akin yung future ng journalism, AI as a tool, why not? Walang problema as a tool. But as a replacement, that's where we should rethink our
AI as a tool in what areas, Joel?
Say for example, yung kagayang kanina, yung sabi ko yung sa data, ang hirap talaga nun like transcription of interviews. No, it takes a lot of time. Minsan pag nagtatranscribe ako nung in-interview ko na na politiko, and yung politiko napaka gustong-gusto niyang pakinggan yung sarili niya, 'di ba? Na he loves to talk, 'di ba? He loves to explain things, ganyan-ganyan. Ang hirap sumingit. Ang hirap to control the interview. And ikaw, Cito, alam mo yan, you've been interviewing people every day.
No,
So,
just let people talk.
No, di ba? Hirap niyan. Di ba? When you transcribe it now, it takes like what? 2-3 hours to do that? And that, even without errors, it's even harder. So, ito, probably, merong magagawa siya faster, more exact than probably what humans can do sa ganung area as tools. Say for example, calculating mathematical figures in economics, 'di ba? Say for the last 5 years. Pero yung analysis noon, yung economic analysis noon should come from a human being, hindi galing sa AI. Kasi ang gagawin lang ng AI is to source from what is already present. Wala ka ring makukuha bago sa kanya kasi ang iso-source mo lang kung ano na yung nandyan.
And if you let AI make the final analysis, you are essentially surrendering
Exactly.
your position of authority and expertise to a non-entity.
Exactly. Ang daming
Okay.
ang daming ads ngayon for AI. Ang narrative nila is that here is now AI can write the essay for you.
Okay, we'll go for a quick break. Sorry, we'll go for a quick break and then we'll go into that. Kasi yan na yung magiging problema ng mga Joel Salud as far as literary works are concerned. Kung speech nga nagiging subject to plagiarism, kung yung mga term papers and thesis are subject to plagiarism, paano pa yung the future of books and novels? We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the episode AI versus AI here on Agenda, and our resource person is an essayist, a novelist, a journalist, and an endangered species na Joel Pablo Salud. Mukhang ganun na labanan eh.
Mukha talaga.
Endangered species na tayo pagka ganitong papalitan pa tayo ng mga AI. But you were you touched on AI in terms of the future. Now I was asking, what about people like you? That's why I called you endangered species. Kasi kung kaya-kaya pala ni ChatGPT maglabas ng 500-word essay, di patay na. Especially yung mga escapist, mga people in denial, they will just say, okay, ChatGPT, write me a nice love story where the outcome is I get married and I live happily ever after. Patay ka na.
Cito, hindi lang ako yan, kasama ka dyan. You are an endangered species.
Hindi, magmamanok na lang ako doon sa farm sa Lipa.
Tama, di ba? I mean, kasi yung future niya nakakatuwa na nakakatakot at the same time. Dahil we don't know kung up to what extent nga ChatGPT will be used. Will they stop at AI being a tool, or will it be in many ways a kind of replacement? 'Di ba? Kasi ngayon merong ChatGPT merong not ChatGPT but AI advertising that says I can write the books for you. 'Di ba? So parang ghostwriter mo na si AI, and this is being done naman in publishing, no? Like I know my daughter used to work for as editor for a foreign company where nagpapasulat yung author ng libro, DIY, mga DIY lang naman, do it yourself, and then nilalagay nila yung pangalan nila, and they just pay the writer for whatever it is that they come up with the author's guidance, no? Yung
Parang
content parang content basically yun eh. Content developers, di ba? So gano'n, eto ngayon ang ginagamit nila AI, which does the work in a short amount of time, and probably with enough expertise, given what you feed it, with enough expertise to do what you actually want. You'll be satisfied with it. But where do you stop? Diba?
Yeah, I mean, I would, if I were dictator, I would say no one in the entire Philippines is allowed to make a prepared speech. You will all make your impromptu speech kasi I don't want AI speeches. Well, parang gano'n. I mean, should we ban ChatGPT or AI in schools, universities, etc.?
That's the easiest way to do it, pero that's the wrong way to do it.
Why?
Kasi banning, parang ano yan eh, ang dali niyan eh. Ang dali lang yan to ban something and then kagaya ng mga binaban na books, di ba, na sabi nila kasi ganito, kasi ganyan. Ang sa akin, ban it or better yet, change our attitude towards it. I-align natin yung attitude to what will benefit us rather than to what would replace us. Kasi dun yung leaning eh. Dun yung parang leaning eh. Parang
No.
kasi makakatipid ako dito, makakatipid, 'di ba? Yun yung assumption eh. But the assumption is not always the reality eh.
No,
Hindi
but
ito-
what's going to happen here? You're going to have students, you're going to have MBA hopefuls, etc., PhD hopefuls going to chat GPT to write their thesis.
Siguro hindi yun ano. Siguro educational system should really sit down, no? I mean professors, academe should sit down and really discuss this. No, hindi naman pwedeng gagamitin yung AI to form the thesis and all that, yung mga dissertation papers nila, no. Hindi naman, wag naman sana ganun dumating, no. But there are many who are trying that. Nabubuko rin sila kasi meron tayong mga AI, mga apps na can distinguish kung AI ang sumulat nito or hindi. No? I mean, that side of AI naman, medyo maganda kasi the program they use can actually detect. Pero here's a future for you to think about. Ito medyo may moral underpinnings na to. I wrote a short story for Esquire Philippines on AI. It's fictional. Basically, here's an AI engineer who developed to resurrect his wife, his dead wife, para yung anak niya, hindi niya para mabuhay ulit yung asawa niya, fed the AI everything that has to do with his wife, para yung mother ng anak niya would be able to interact again with her mother. No, pero AI lang yung mom. AI lang yung mom. Ang problem nito was that the story, yung engineer fed the AI only what it needs to know. Hindi niya finid na siya yung pumatay dun sa nanay niya.
Okay. Ladies
So,
and
ibig ko sabihin,
gentlemen,
these are
fiction po ito, no?
fiction yan,
Fiction
fiction.
to. Baka sabihin nyo na, hi, AI, pumapatay. No,
Hindi.
okay.
No, parang ano lang
But
siya.
your point,
There are moral implications to using AI. Especially journalism, yung responsibility, the accountability that we are required to face, the errors that we do. Alam mo, we just have to probably disabuse ourselves na ang journalist talaga naman nagkakamali, no? And to think ang AI din, for the most part, there is no way we can create artificial intelligence to be perfect. The fact that we call it artificial already gives us an idea of up to where it would go.
okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we have tickled your curiosity in this conversation, the article that generated this episode is entitled, and that I would ask Gab if you could flash it there, Pandora's Chat Box. Are we delving into artificial journalism? That came out in the Philippine Star, I believe 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and you would benefit from by reading it. It was written by Joel Pablo Salud. Joel, thank you very much for your time. At least napag-usapan, and I do hope people talk more about it and try to understand that it can be just as good and just as bad. And in the end, it's all about the person who has the controls on artificial intelligence. Thank you. God bless you, Joel.
Thank you, Cito. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, that's Joel Pablo Salud, essayist, author, journalist, and endangered species. Okay, let's now go to our blessing for the week, which comes from the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love Him. Okay, and once again, that is the Lord reassuring us that no matter what our trials are, He's there for us. And I do hope your day works out. God bless all of you. Please include Team Agenda in your prayers and keep it here on One News. Thank you.